Thanks for tuning in to the
All right,
Fly
all
Nerd
right.
Group, man. Cosmo
Yes, sir.
Galactus,
Amby
Amby
Warhol here.
Warhol. Yeah, and we here with a special guest, y'all. We here with one of the dopest, illustrious MCs from South
Oh
Jamaica,
man.
Queens, man. One of the dopest multi-syllable rhyme scheme
Writers,
writers, period, concepts, complex lyrics, not
everything,
afraid
all of the
to
above.
step beyond and push the bar when it comes to MCing and just artistry in general, man. Got one of the greatest here, legendary Pharoahe Monch, man. Thank you.
Yes,
Peace,
Thanks
yes,
for
peace,
yes.
joining me.
peace. Everybody, welcome.
Peace,
Thank you
peace.
for
How you
that
doing, King?
illustrious. Thank you for that illustrious intro, sir. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Just glad that you're joining us, man. So how you doing, King? You good?
I'm good, man. Just a regular day. I did a little like my little boring ass cardio today in the gym, and then got back home
Mhm.
for this. Uh, and I'm excited, man. Anytime it's hip hop and comic books, I'm excited.
That's
Word.
dope, man. So into this comic
Look
book
behind him.
thing.
Let's just look behind him, yo.
Yeah, like you
Look
got
at it.
figures, dude. And I've been a fan of yours for years. Been
Mm,
peeping you since like the whole COVID. And it's
mm.
like those shelves were empty. Those shelves were really
Yeah.
spacious. And over time, we just grew and
And
grew.
different figures were behind you at different times.
Yeah, that's right, man. Like one time you was really extensive with Wolverine. So let's just get
Yeah.
into it. Because I'm the same way. I'm a photographer as well. And I started getting figures, started doing photography and just went crazy. Open to a new world. So how you feel about figures? Like what got you started doing that?
um, I've always collected, but not to this extent. It
Mm,
happened during the pandemic. This is my spot in the basement to do these and shit. Got the light set up and blah blah blah. And like you said, I didn't really have a background. And I was noticing on the news, and people were getting their backgrounds together. And you know, my man Wade from Unparalleled Universe, he
mm.
was like, "Yo, your shit's looking kind of weak back there with that little 3-inch Ben Grimm and all this shit." And I was like, "Oh, word! Like it's like that."
Wow.
So
Yikes.
I I started copping some figures again, and then the shit it just got out of hand. But like like it was real therapeutic during that time. Like I think even now, people don't put the context and the chapters into what was happening in like New York, man. It was like they had freezes in the street with bodies, and I'm in Queens, and Queens was hit like the worst of the five boroughs. The hospitals
Mm.
were overflowing. Like it was really like it was some zombie apocalypse shit out here. Like
Man.
Yeah, yeah.
we were back when we were getting the packages, and we were like squirting the packages with disinfectant, and uh, we forget quickly where we were, and so to have an outside thing come in that would like settle my mind for writing or finishing the project was real ill, because when you think about the figures in context with the comics, it just
Mm.
kind of like takes you to that world where you can like zone out and remember those specific books, that specific uniform, how the specific characters were on a specific team and the mission and all that. And it,
Right.
it was an escape. It was an escape. And I found out after I would finish escaping, I would be centered enough to like do a 16 or finish a feature or, just be in a clear space. So it was mad therapeutic for me to get back into collecting figures.
That's really dope,
That's
man.
what's up.
You took that to a very intricate place, man. So what's your favorite figure so far? What gets you charged every time you look at that figure? Like, what's your fave figure?
Ah man, it's too many, man. It's too many. It's too many. Like the Mandalorian series was crazy for me. So
Hmm.
even copped the Mandalorian, and so like just that makes me think about how good the series was written. See, it's
Okay.
not just
Right.
about the figure itself. Like you
Mm.
correlate it to
Everything
different
else.
things, so it takes you
The
to
whole
Yeah.
that
experience.
space, right? The whole
That's dope.
experience. And
That's
then there's
dope.
certain ones that like the Tiger Stripe Wolverine joint in the first appearance of him
Yeah.
in the Incredible Hulk. It just
Yeah.
brings you to that space when you watch
Yeah.
when you look at the figure. So
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
couple of those, you know what I mean? So yeah, stuff like that, man.
That's
Yep. Yep.
dope,
Yep.
man. You got a lot. Is Wolverine one of your favorites? Because you had that Samurai
Yeah,
Wolverine, that Mesco joint. I was like, yo,
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
damn, Pharaoh. Damn, Pharaoh.
yeah.
How?
And so Mezco did 6 Wolverines so far. They're dropping a new one, I think at the top of the year. But they did 6, and so that was one of the first things I really went after. I was like,
Mhm.
I want to get all 6 of these joints, and
That's
the
crazy.
Tiger Stripe one was limited, so it was hard to get
Yeah.
that one. But
Mhm.
another cool thing that I learned is that it's a community, and anytime you find out it's a community, it's a good thing. Like when I
Yep.
first started them seeing, just to find out, you know, you just wanted to be down with other people who loved hip hop back then. Like, oh, you like hip hop too? Word? Yeah,
Right.
Right.
I got a crew. I'm starting a crew. Oh, yo, you like it? Oh, you got equipment? Oh, word? Like you taking it to the next level.
Right. Right.
Right.
Same thing with this. It's like I'm online and it's like married dudes and their wives or just dudes DMing me like, yo, when I get the stimulus check, I'm gonna try to pick up the I'm gonna try to get this. And I'm like,
I'm gonna
damn,
get
that's
that
crazy.
Wolverine. I'm
Like,
gonna get that
yeah,
Galactus.
Yes.
it's like embedded in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And from
Hmm.
afar, I didn't even think about it like that way. You know what I mean? Like, couples in terms of like the whole figure photography, like helping their girl out or helping their boyfriend out or shit like that. I'm like, yo, this shit is pretty ill, man. You know?
It is, man.
Yeah.
I went through that same experience as a photographer because I just do
Mm,
hip hop photography. So I got photographs
mm,
of you. You know what I mean? Last time
mm,
you was in
mm,
Chicago, just off topic, it
mm,
was you, Prince Poe, and OC at the
mm,
promontory. So I was at that
mm,
show, and yeah, that's what I do. I specialize in taking pictures.
mm,
So when I opened the door to like this whole toy photography thing, you're right.
mm.
It's a huge community, and tons
Yes,
of
it is.
people that I knew that was collectors I didn't know had
Mm.
toys in the shelf. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
wives, like you said, couples, they do tag team photo shoots at night and stuff
Hmm.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's like really
Crazy.
crazy. Dioramas and do the
Mm,
whole
mm.
shebang, whole setup, like whole setup.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really dope world, man. So
When I first got started, Cash was like, "Yo, you gonna get this?" I was like, "I'm not getting all that shit. I'm not doing all that shit."
same, I said the
Now I'm
same.
like, "Yo, I need the ill setup now."
Yeah,
you know?
Yo,
because
it's
you need
real.
to
It's
set
real.
the whole ambiance and stuff. And like as a photographer, just taking the pictures of the toys is just taking pictures of toys, but I want to set them up and do stuff. I want to set up a world. So
Action
yeah, I was
shots.
going to suggest go to like extreme sets or diorama prints. Real they got like printouts and stuff that you can use for background. And you can
Mm-hmm.
set your figures up and go like
Like,
on
who would have thought?
Etsy.com and get like
Who
little
would have thought?
miniature.
Who would have thought? B like,
It,
who would have thought? Like, it's crazy,
Hey
crazy.
man, that's the same thing I was saying.
Yeah.
But
Another
like my
thing that's ill is that like you can't escape the connection between the two genres. They've been hand in hand since the
absolutely.
beginning of MCing and hip hop and
yeah,
graffiti and characters and you know it's synonymous.
Hmm.
And the ill shit is like I'll post a Wolverine or something on the gram, and like the illest thugged out cats would be like, "Yo, son, where you get that Wolverine from, man?"
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, "Yo, you too, nigga. Fuck out of here, yo."
Cause now they feeling comfortable to do it because they see you doing it.
that
Right.
and also it just tap into a psyche, like you said. You know what I mean? That Wolverine to MC Thug about You know what I mean? It just triggers
Took
something.
them back.
Everyone was into the comic books. Everyone, you had to be some, like you said, had a sense of escapism, especially in the growing up in the hood from any
Absolutely.
city. You know what I mean? We all used to go to
Absolutely.
comic books. I used to do it. All my friends did it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, wherever their lifestyle is now, comic books was always the thing. So, what's your favorite comic books? Like, do you still have a collection, or do you still go into comic book collecting like
I,
that?
I kept a small collection of books from back in the days. I got a couple of gems in there, and recently, a friend of mine, Carlito, who's an avid one of the top collectors in the country,
Mm,
hit me off with the McFarlane Spider-Man
Ooh,
joint
that's
first. The yeah, he hit me off with some gems. So I got a couple of nice things
mm-hmm.
sitting around now. But
mm.
when I was collecting heavy, it was X-Men. You know, it was
Ah,
X-Men because the
mine too.
again how synonymous it was. I was in art school and just hip hop was looked down upon, and being a minority, it kind of symbolized being different.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Art school, hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
in the early stages, it wasn't really accepted now how it is now, and so
Right, being ostracized.
yeah, a
Hmm.
whole a whole group of cats that were like, you know, I don't even have to explain to the audience why the X-Men correlate to like the whole ostracized society, and I just took a liking to it in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
mutants, and then later I don't know how true it is or how factual it is. I saw an interview where Stanley and them were saying that the concept of Magneto and
And
Professor X
Professor X. Yep.
kind of came from Malcolm and Martin in terms of their
Hmm.
approach to
Hmm.
the movement. Same
Hmm.
same love for the people, but a entirely
Mm-hmm.
different approach to the movement. And you
Right.
kind of felt that. Without that being said, you
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
felt that in those books. And I tell people like when they see the figures or the '90s cartoon, I'm like, the books were way deeper than that. Like if you didn't read the books,
Absolutely.
you wouldn't even understand. And obviously, the motion pictures did nothing for how dope the books were. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we didn't have to mention those.
Yeah, I know, right? But
yeah.
no, X-Men is one of my favorite books as well, and it's for the same reasons. I looked at them like freedom fighters, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Absolutely.
And
Mhm.
they had to deal with oppression just like
Mhm.
everyone,
Mhm.
you know what I mean, a
Mhm.
person of
Mhm.
color. So they
Mhm.
were fighters. Yeah, I get
Mhm.
that. And I actually talked to Chris Claremont, and yeah, that was the drive, was
Mhm.
the freedom fighter, the Malcolm X,
Mhm.
the Martin Luther
Mhm.
King movement. So yeah, that's one of my things, man.
Mhm.
So that's dope, man.
Yeah. Right when I was
Absolutely.
getting into them, I was reading Behold the Pale Horse, and I was
Huh?
reading
Oh my
Malcolm
goodness.
X and all
Yeah.
that shit. That's that era when I was getting into all of that, and the fact that they
Mm-hmm.
were X-Men and the whole,
Just
come
add it.
on, man. I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is that group.
Yeah.
So that's how you writing illustrious. you
Mm,
was
And I
mm,
can
really
and
mm,
I can see it.
mm,
I can see it
yeah,
in the whole history.
you was just
And you
obtaining culture and information, and yeah, dude, those some
mm,
hard things to read, man, for real. What
yeah,
you about to say,
yeah.
Abby?
I was just thinking because like so you went through that whole sphere. You embraced the comics. You found the love and value. You saw the social commentary and the overlay of life imitating or art imitating life. And then you fast forward to today where you took it upon yourself to pursue that similar endeavor to create your own comic.
Hmm.
What's
Absolutely.
that
That
about?
that's like a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? I went to the high school of art and design. Initially, you're entering that school from junior high school. Like, I'm gonna work for Marvel.
Right.
I'm gonna work
Okay.
Yeah.
for Marvel. I'm gonna
Okay.
take animation. I don't think they had animation at the time, but that was the drive. And then when I got to the school, it was like everybody was so nice, or nicer than I was. I was lucky to get in there, I was like, I don't know if this is the route. But yeah,
Oh,
the
Oh.
comic books were heavy. Black
Yeah.
books were heavy, and we were
Mm.
in the black books with the characters and the designer markers and the rapidia graphs and doing the shit and the drawings, and that was my whole world. So for this to actually come true, bam!
there
Boom!
it is.
Ooh, kill,
That's
kill,
it.
was
kill.
it was crazy, man. I wrote the story,
Okay.
three young kids, escaping from the like dystopian prison, and then these creatures that hunted them down in the forest, and just to see it manifest and be a tangible thing that you can hold in your hand or read
Hmm.
is beautiful. And I've been holding on to the gratefulness of that since the book dropped. And so just looking to see where we could take it, you know what I mean?
I
Okay.
think
Okay.
it's very well. Congrats for that,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's
That's a
definitely,
major feat.
yeah, it's a major dope step for you, man. And I like that because the way you write anyway is so
Mm-hmm.
conceptual. You
Mm-hmm.
need in like visuals for your stuff. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Absolutely.
like you have whole concept albums. It's like wow, you know what I mean? Like some of
Mm-hmm.
these could be movies, some of these could be books. So with this Kill 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 is really dope. Are you going to further write this story out? Are you going to flush it out?
Yeah.
Or get a
Yeah.
full
Yeah. Yeah.
feature someday?
Yeah. Definitely. I don't want to give it away, and
Okay.
I'm doing it in increments for myself too, because I really want to feel the journey of it. I'm not just trying to knock it out just to knock it out. But
Okay.
if you've seen the video or read the comic book,
Hmm.
the kids escape, they're captured. She strikes them down, and she didn't want to do it. She knew she was powerful, but she didn't want to be violent. But all of this oppression kind of drove her to it, and she couldn't let the younger kids she was watching over get hurt. So she
Right.
takes them out, and the masks fall off, and the creatures turn into children.
Yeah.
So she's amazed by the mask. I remember I was showing this film in the little short one time to like a room full of adults, and people were literally like, "Don't put the mask on, no!"
All right.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I
Don't
felt the
do it.
same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it too. Like, oh my God, why?
So she puts the mask on and transforms into the creature. And if you notice, they're walking back towards where they were
Mhm. Yeah,
Where they escaped
going
from.
to,
yeah.
where they escaped from. So I'm thinking she knows what she's doing, and she's on some Trojan horse shit, and she's going to return back to that place for a reason. I know
Ah,
what the reason is, but I just want to flesh it out a little bit more.
Okay.
okay. That's dope, man.
So yeah,
Okay, okay.
what was really ill about that comic was the last line after she puts on the mask, and then she gives
Hmm.
the other two masks to the other two kids she was protecting.
Mhm.
You
Hmm.
got that line where we become what we hate the most.
Yep.
Hmm.
And so I'm
Hmm.
like, when that line that hit me so hard, and because I know how just from what I hear in your music, I get a hint
Hmm.
that you're very heavy in psychology, and like that's very
Hmm.
much a Nietzsche line.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm wondering, like, to what extent are you when you because even in the actual album for 13 and all your music, actually, you're always delving into psychology. You're delving into like occult sciences. You're delving into like things like grief, trauma, identity crisis, like inner demons. Like,
Hmm.
where is that coming from?
I mean, it's just innate. You know what I'm saying? I write what I feel and I write what I see. Like right now, it's apparent. It's apparent to me that innately there is a interconnectivity that's happening between certain people on the planet. We're like conscious in a way, and I don't want to use that word because it's just overblown, but becoming aware
Mm,
of a collective understanding. At the same time, there's a division happening. Um, and so what if I know this and I feel this, I can't be the only one. So,
Mm-hmm.
like the age old question, like what's the driving force behind the ones at the top or the 1% not wanting the people
Mm-hmm.
to gain this knowledge that's ours anyway. It's in us anyway. And all the distractions, like what's the end game and what's that really all about? And so it plays into marketing and it plays into fetishes and it plays into this and it plays into division and poverty and education and keeping the knowledge away. Things, that's been written about since the beginning of time in terms of music and in terms of literature. I'm
Sure.
just exploring it or trying to explore it in a way that, to be quite honest with you, as a music fan, I would listen to some shit and I would call up my boys and be like, "Yo, you got to check this dude out." That that's my approach. Like I I always loved hearing an album or getting put up on some shit and then running to everybody else like, "Yo, I'm the first one to put you up on this," or "This is for me." You know, this I can relate to this personally.
Yeah.
And believe me, I know the math. Like I know if I write these themes and rhyme the way I do, the percentage
Mm-hmm.
of people gets smaller. But I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? So I don't
Right.
mind having this niche audience that's like, I get it. You know what I'm
Take it.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
That's a
And
fact.
that is a fact. Now I'm glad that you brought that up. So let's move on to this 13 album.
Yes.
Um, Very dope, man. Presentation right there. I mean, with the
Mm,
comic book
Yeah.
and the presentation with the production and
mm,
just the approach of this particular album and the music that you're doing, it's really dope, man. It's really, you do your thing. It's conceptual. You got your multi syllables going on throughout
mm.
the whole thing. Is just crazy dope, man. What motivated you to get started with this particular work in comparison to your previous albums?
Um, the idea for this record came about 10, 15 years ago. Like really after Internal Affairs, I was like, this is prime for the heaviness and the darkness and
Mm-hmm.
the Internal Affairs was kind of hard, you know, just beats, and it kind of had that overtone to it. I had a lot of people from other genres come to me like, yo, I wasn't even, fucking with hip hop like that until these records, and I delve into
That's real.
the record. So I was like, yeah, even though it's not, rock guitars, there's overtones to these songs
Mm,
that
mm,
that feel a certain way. Even
mm.
Simon feels like I think that's why kids kind of mosh to the shit or
Yeah,
kind of
they
sit
mosh
like
the
this
hell out
with
of
it.
that.
Mm. I was going to say that, dude, because
Mm-hmm,
I seen it from the birth of that song. It
mm-hmm,
never fails. When
mm-hmm.
Simon come on, people jumping,
The
rowdy,
mustard goes.
moshing, and
Mm-hmm,
it's a connecting thing. It's like a psyche, dude. Like soon as
mm-hmm.
those horns rip, I wasn't even going to talk about Simon Says today, but
Yeah,
yeah,
my
this
bad.
is like this
But
is dope.
there's a science to it in the sense that
Yeah.
you know why hip hop is so dope because it incorporates all of that shit, and without it, you know,
Right.
being that prevalent, it induced that reaction.
Yeah.
So, I grew up. Rest in peace to my older brother. My older brother. I grew up around a lot of rock, and he was in the rock, jazz, fusion jazz. That's all I would hear. So I grew up around those kind of themes, and so I always wanted to like, you know, it's not a departure from what I do, but I wanted to add some elements that would make people be
Mm,
like, all right, let's take this serious. Which is
mhm.
why I just didn't like put the music together. It's like it's really a trio in the sense that Daryl Jones is just an assassin and an animal in his own right, and
Right.
Mm-hmm.
so is Marcus Machado,
Yes,
assassin.
sir. Yes,
Like
Not
sir.
just like the world has yet to see. But and help me be taken serious when I say I want to fuse these two genres. Of course,
I
that's been
see it.
done
that's
before,
awesome.
but for
Hmm.
me, I would always be like, I wish I liked this band, but I wish it was more bars. Or I
Mm.
Yeah,
like these
yeah.
Right.
bars,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I wish the rock
I
was a little
like hip
more
hop.
like
Right,
beat heavy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
the
you
whole
found you figuring out a balance, and you're a
right.
formulaic person. Like everything's a formula. I could tell from listening to you for
Mhm,
years.
mhm,
So I think you're figuring out your formula of balance
mhm,
because that is a great scale. Listening to that
mhm.
album, it's a dope Pharaoh album at this point. You know what I mean?
It really is.
It's
Right.
not
It's
in
not a
that particular.
anybody who's been following me knows it's not a departure per se, with the exception
Right.
of adding um um the cats to the mix. But I knew that I couldn't. The thing that I hated is when hip hop got bastardized, and I didn't want to bastardize either genre. So
Mm,
you recruit a Knots, you
hmm.
recruit a
Shout out
Super
to
Ugly, you
yeah,
recruit Marco Polo, and
yeah.
keep the sensibility there, and just try to tweak or add the band to that sensibility that's already there. Because if you lose this, then you lose what the
Yeah,
fuck are you
it's gone.
doing? You lose
Yeah,
everything.
Hmm.
yeah, that's true.
And
So
so
true.
a lot of times with bands it got too loose, it wasn't tight enough,
Hmm.
and you still gotta be like you still gotta hear it and be like, yo, I wish I had this, I would rap over this.
Hmm.
A song should make you do that. And if it doesn't make you do that, then you should be like, I understand the marriage of the artist to this particular music. I might not rhyme on this music or sing on this music, but I understand their interpretation of the music. So it took a while to do. We were working on it for a long time, so that it would be right and it would be dark. And the theme, I know I'm rambling, but I'll be real quick. The theme
No,
of
you
it will
fine.
seem like classic rock shit in the first appearance, but it's really about, like I said, attacking the evil so that we can get to a place of atonement, so that we can have this cleansing, this exorcism, and then come out on the other side with like greater awareness. That's what the album is about. Title is about.
A magnificent day for an exorcism,
And and it is. It absolutely is.
and is suiting and is very. I mean, from title racism, Code 45, where you talk about the political landscapes,
Right.
everything on there is like really, 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 really dope, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, dude, very conceptual, from stepping from PTSD and stuff like that and war,
Mm.
coming doing this album, man, is really dope. So what's the 13 about? What's the infatuation with 13, sir?
Yes.
Um, that's I've been rocking with that. Shout out to Prince Poe since organized confusion.
Yeah.
Shout out to
That's
Prince
been
Pablo.
yeah. We both played on a high school basketball team, and it was 8 and 13 was the numbers. So it's been there the whole time. If you listen to a song we got called
Yeah.
Numbers with Organized Confusion, we dropped the numbers in there. And I got a song called 13. But I think it
Right.
derives from yeah, I think it derives from me having asthma at a very young age. And my parents, when people would ask, yo, how long has he had asthma? My parents would say, oh, he's had asthma since he was 13 months old. And even then I would just hear that number. I would just hear it. And then I became, a big sports head. A lot of cats who I became fans of had that number. And my birthday is Halloween, and the 31 is
31. Oh my
backwards. Yeah,
goodness.
you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
All right,
Okay.
numbers,
Okay.
man.
That's real. Because I did notice that like there's a lot of lines with 13 that you mentioned. You got that
Mm,
13, the illest. Like you always
mm,
throwing 13
mm,
in there. And so for it to culminate to this, it just feels like your lyrics, like it's just one lone double upon triple entendre. Yes, yes, yes.
Get that joined if you
That
haven't
album
got
is
it
beautiful.
already.
That album is good. And I've been one of the people that have been like really telling people like, yo, you really want to listen to an album of the year like that's a worthy candidate? Check that album, because it brings so much to the landscape from a musical perspective, as well as just the boundaries that you're pushing with the videos, with the animation, with the
Right,
comics, like the
right.
whole multidisciplinary approach to it. And I know that you have to go through a lot to produce something on this caliber, where you've got a band, you've got an artist, illustrator that you had to work with, animations, you have to write scripts. Like I can relate to all of that, So like from the production side of it, what was that like?
The science to that is what he said earlier, is that I'm like, if you're gonna write these records and have this concept, you can't just drop it on people, especially now. You're gonna have to have visuals. It's gonna have to
Right.
be a super visual record,
Hmm.
artwork, animation. You're gonna have to do different things that are tangible that people can actually see, even without a marketing, budget. See that you're doing things outside of this that connect to this project, back to the project. So animated video we were working on before we did any of the other visuals, and it was super
Mm-hmm.
fast. It was faster than I thought, but I knew, I was like, yo, shit, we're gonna have to start working on this animation before the record even come out. So I,
Yep.
I
Yep.
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 spoke to the
The
cat See
timing.
Through in
Hmm.
London and was like, yo, I'm gonna send you this music, man. Don't let nobody hear it. He's like, nah, I'm good, I'm good, good. I was like, this shit is weird and it's out there, but it's gonna fit. And it probably won't be first, but it'll probably be, third. So he was like, when do you need it? And we started brainstorming on that shit way
That's,
before the album was mastered. We were still recording when the animation for that was being worked on. And then Cold
That's it.
45 and Fight with Cypress Hills, like we shot that in Connecticut with damn near a whole, you know, film crew during the pandemic. Shout out to Tatiana, who's the
Wow.
director on that, brought
oh,
that to life. With the clan robes, and like I remember me and Zoe Ellis,
Mm-hmm.
we sitting in a coffee shop, like, how do we end this video? I'm writing the ending, and I'm like, it's gotta be shocking. Like, I'm like, we need a statue, and we just need to fuck the statue up at the end. I'm like, nah, we're not gonna be able to do that. We're not gonna be able to do that. You know what'd be ill? Like clan robes. And then, yeah, yo, that should have, yo,
yeah.
literally Google like clan robes, and that shit took us to the official clan page. And I'm like,
Yikes.
this is not gonna work out. Like,
Right. You got the Black Klansmen and you had to infiltrate to get your
That's
robe
what I
on.
was thinking. That's crazy. So, wow, man. So, yeah, that's dope. So, yeah, the process, some of the process begins even before you even do the album, and
That's a fact.
finish the album and stuff like that. And I think that's really, 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 really dope, sir, Mr. Farrow. Anything you want to add on, Amby, before
I just have an interesting connection, or maybe it's a coincidence, but so you got a song "Kill Kill Kill," which is the animation in the comic. Then inside of the fight video, you've got KKK Rose, which is also "Kill
mm-hmm,
Kill Kill." Is
mm-hmm.
that coincidence? Or is that more your layers upon layers?
All of the images, lettering, phonetics, numerology,
Mm-hmm.
colors, images, everything was thought about, you know, because it's just, I like how things correlate in writing, and it's just dope to write something in terms of scripting it out, and then just be like, nah, you can edit this and make this better. Oh, you can make this attached to that if you do this, or I'm always thinking that way. So I love when films or series or books are there and you can read them again, or then years later you're like, yo, I never caught that shit before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
that's the purpose to it. Like I think, art should grow with you too. And it's difficult to have it grow if it's all just what's popping at the time and
Yeah.
Right.
like you know what I'm saying? It just can't be like pop culture all
Right.
the time. It's cool to hit somebody with a pop culture punchline that automatically works because this is what's happening in the moment. You know, Alec Baldwin. You know, what's the bar going to be? I'm waiting for an MC to do an Alec Baldwin bar right now.
we were just
I got
talking
more
about
props
that.
than Alec, baby. I got more
Yeah,
props than Alec.
yeah, there you go. So you can't lose. You can't lose with that. But then it kind of dies out after a while, and you're like,
It has a
yeah,
shelf
that
life.
shit's
Yeah.
it has
But
a
you
shelf life.
know,
So
and that's the whole thing. Like I heard Large Pro. Well, I heard Q-Tip say, "Don't say years in the music." And I heard that
mhm,
was a Large Pro thing, and that's because you
mhm,
don't want to date your music. So
mhm,
yeah, it is about particular lines and stuff during the time that you could say
mhm,
like that was just a generic line right there. But
mhm,
if you actually soup it up and have something
mhm.
to it, it could be a dope line that that
Yeah,
sets
no, absolutely,
in its space.
absolutely. You said that about the time, like in all the visuals, Colt 45, fight.
Mm-hmm.
We specifically were like, don't wear any items that date the visual. So,
Hmm.
Word. I
you
can
know,
see that.
I'm
Yes.
thinking like years down the line, you could catch this shit somewhere, see it
You make
online
timeless
somewhere, and be
music
like, yeah,
anyway, bro. You make
yeah,
timeless music anyway.
yeah,
So I mean, like that's what puts you in that whole legendary bracket because it's like, you know, you
Mm-hmm.
can listen to the concepts, the music, the lyrics, and everything, and it's still like dope. It's still dope. It's still structured.
Absolutely.
It's you can learn
mm-hmm,
from it. Like every
mm-hmm,
straight bullet. Like, come on, man.
mm-hmm,
Joints like that still
mm-hmm.
mean something today, man. You always have
Right.
done that, and yeah, you're a
Thank
legend
you.
in
I
my eyes,
appreciate.
man. So thanks
I
for
appreciate
showing
Absolutely.
that.
up. What's the next move for you, Pharaoh? Are you coming to Chicago soon? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
We're actually doing a date in Chicago. I forget the name of the spot.
Cup
Blood
of blood.
and
Cups of
Cup of
blood.
Blood. Yeah.
Cups of blood, two cups
Um,
of blood.
where we're gonna be signing the comic book, and we're gonna be meet and greet, and then we got a performance like the day afterwards. So that shit
Right.
should be
And that's
fire,
at Chop Shop.
and it right. And it's just dope. I love to be invited and for people to think on that level because you know it's correlating to what we're doing and it's nerd shit and it's dope shit. Like you could come and like get a book, browse, and that shit is fire to me. So I'm excited
It
about
is.
it.
I'm
You know,
excited too, man. I can't
Yeah,
wait to
we will
see you,
definitely
man.
be there.
Yeah, real
hmm
quick, how was your you was at the New York Comic Con. How
hmm
was your experience there real quick? How
Dope.
was the transition from doing like shows and stuff to a Comic Con? Was this your first time?
It was my first time. It was
Okay.
fire. You need a couple of days, so I just focused on the Marvel shit and the figures. They had a
Hmm.
couple of vendors out there. Um,
Mhm.
one dude had the whole what if wave, and I know that shit's not supposed to come out to
Wow.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Oh.
So
dope.
so I was just
You
like,
had to slap your
walk.
hand.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So and then we had a panel on a similar topic, and it's just where it's at, man. And it's like it's good to see people embracing their sci-fi, their comic book, and that whole vibe. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's real, and the writing is good, and it's important to forecast uh the future because we could do that, man. We could
Yeah,
do that.
Right.
You
yes
know?
we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes we can.
Do
And
you
that's
do
what
you
we
have
did
plans
to have
on setting
you
up?
here with us with the Fly Nerd Group, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have plans of setting up your own like booth so that you can sell your merch at a con?
Um, yeah, I've invited to next year's and might do San Diego. Hopefully, we have another book in production
Mm-hmm.
so I can be there, and have it really, really rocking. It's a great idea. Now you just put a date and a fire
Yeah,
under my ass right now to get it
that's
done.
what's
Yeah.
And
that's
you
what's
could
up.
come out
That's
here
what
to
we're
the
here for.
C2. You could come out here to the C2E2 as well. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
could
Right.
actually just, I mean, because, I've been going to comic book conventions for years and I've been asking them to bring hip hop into the
To
Mhm.
whole
bring it into
arena.
Mhm.
the world. Yeah.
Like rest in
Mhm.
peace, MF Doom. He could have
Mhm.
walked through a whole comic book convention with the mask on and make sense. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Ghostface,
Right. Yeah.
Ghostface as well too. And now you and I seen DMC in
Mhm.
at a
Yeah.
convention before too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. He's
working,
heavy.
but
Yeah.
yeah, he is
Let's
heavy.
get
Yep,
it.
yep, yeah.
Let's
But
get it
I
going as a
I love to
collective,
see
man.
that integration,
Yeah.
man. I love to
Let's
see it.
do it, man.
All
It's
right.
up to us. Yeah.
For
We
sure.
got it then. We got it then, Pharaoh. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a part of the
Yeah,
Fly
we
Nerd.
appreciate you, man.
We
Everything
Yeah,
you're
appreciate
man.
you.
doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Can't wait to
Peace.
see you in Chicago. So, any last shout
All right.
outs?
Yeah, man. To the band 13, to the release of the album. We just put our bid in for Grammy nominations. Hopefully, luckily that
Come
happens.
on.
You know
Come
what I'm saying?
on.
And yeah,
Okay.
man, that energy is real, man. So yeah, looking forward to see what happens with that. It's a long shot, but it might happen.
Come on,
No, you
man.
got our nerd support, so we gonna work with you.
Absolutely.
All right, yo, peace.